Tom Sparks. Welcome back to See You at USC. It's Tuesday night, which, as the crew can attest to, is the best night for See You at USC. We're the best college talk show on television. I'm here with Gina Ahai.
Nahai.
Nah! See, I get nervous right before I say it every time.
Well, just don't say it anymore.
Okay, can I call you Gina?
Yes.
That'll make my life a lot easier, you know.
Yeah.
Now, you've been really prolific since, what, 2000? Was 2002 your first novel? What year was your first novel?
No, 91.
That's what I meant.
Was my first,
I'm sorry, I thought it was 1990.
Yeah.
So you, and since then, you've done 4 novels, correct?
Yeah. My novel Sunday Silence, that's my one before last, my third novel, came out on September 14, 2001.
Wow.
Yeah, 3 days after September 11th.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, did that, was the reaction different?
Oh, well, yeah. You know what happens is, first of all, the warehouses in New York where the book was supposed to be shipped out from weren't even open. What happens when you run into that kind of news is that everything just goes on hold, and nothing happened for a couple of months. Everything was postponed, and then when it did come back, yeah, it's very tough to fight that kind of the media attention.
Mm-hmm.
Just like with the elections, you don't want a book being launched today with everybody looking at Vermont and Ohio. So yeah, in the long run though, it evens out. After a while.
People really freaked out. I was doing radio at the time, 9/11, and the media really freaked out. They didn't really know what to do.
Yeah.
And how to handle it, and just didn't want to press any buttons. Basically, just became very hands-off, it seems, and only went with safe, very, very safe.
Yeah, and then they were digging all of a sudden for information that they didn't have and they'd never been interested in before. And now, everybody has to know about Afghanistan. Everybody has to know about Taliban, and so. I guess it was a tough time for the media, too. Was it
with a Middle Eastern name? Did you find things changed when you were traveling to do your book tours after 9/11?
No, because people who read books and who go to these events, seriously,
you're right,
who go to these events are enlightened enough to know that there is a difference.
Right.
But there is.
How about the book world aside? Did you find?
Well, I mean, I always in LA as an Iranian, there are moments definitely since the very beginning and still now when you run into resistance. I wouldn't say open hostility, even though sometimes, but mostly resistance on the part of sort of your white people, sort of Americans.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is sad. There's a larger. Now, am I saying it wrong? This is Iranian?
Iranian.
Iranian. And I would pronounce the country Iran.
Yeah.
God, I'm bad. I can't pronounce anything.
Yeah, just tonight. Tomorrow's your birthday, so.
That's right. 32 years old.
Oh,
I'm an old
my
student.
God.
There's a large Iranian population here in Los Angeles. You would think if anywhere there was more tolerance, it would be in a city like this.
Well, I have to say that this country altogether, there is the greatest level of tolerance. Anytime you have a mass migration of a people, different language, different culture, different everything, you bring it all fast like this in one. Really, most of the immigration happened right after the revolution. It creates shockwaves, and anywhere else in the world, we would have had a much harder time than in this country. So that definitely, and in LA also, because there are such different variations, it's been easier, but it doesn't make it non-existence, that resistance that people have. It doesn't, you know.
Do you think that's changing?
I don't think that it'll change for a while. I think as long as we sound different and as long as we act differently, perhaps, I think that will be there. Then the next generation's gonna integrate so much that there will be white people. So,
right.
Yeah.
Okay, switching topics here. I know coming up, I believe it's March 14th.
March 12th.
March 12th.
Wednesday, March 12th.
Wednesday, March 12th.
What
is it?
Our department, professional writing department, is hosting a panel. The subject is how to promote your work, how to use the media to promote your work. So we have a producer from the Oprah show, a producer from Tavis Smiley's show, a producer from NPR, and David Yulin from the LA Times, who are going to...
Not too shabby.
No, not too shabby. And I'm the moderator, and it's open to the university, and I mean students, and it's open to the public, and it's free in the faculty center.
Fantastic. And I can go too?
You can go, definitely.
I'll definitely go.
Yeah.
And that's going on March 12th.
March 12th, Wednesday, March 12th, yeah.
Now, during the break, we were discussing your new book. Are you working on a new book as we speak?
I'm working on a new book, yeah.
Is it? Do you ever want to write a nonfiction? Because your books are fiction; they're novels. They have a lot of historical accuracies in them, and you learn a great deal about the history of Iran and various things from reading them. However, they are all fiction. Have you ever considered writing a nonfiction book?
Well, you know, the truth is that everything that happens in all these books has actually happened, and all the characters are based on real people. They're composites of real people, and sort of the emotional content of all the novels are real. So I do write nonfiction. I just present it as fiction.
Do you feel that it's easier to get a message across sometimes if you do it through fiction?
I think you have a freer hand, obviously. You know, you're not bound by reality as much, and I think that novels have greater longevity. You know, you read Great Expectations 100 years later, and there's still a lot that you get out of it, even though times have changed.
Right.
Nonfiction doesn't have that kind of, usually, most nonfiction doesn't have that kind of longevity. So, but you know, it's just a natural inclination. People keep telling me, why don't you write a memoir? And I figure,
yeah, you're
my
right.
life
you're
hasn't
right.
been interesting enough to warrant a memoir. So.
Someday, one of these days, we're going to get a memoir out of you?
Well, no, I hope my life never becomes interesting enough to make a memoir out of it. I'm content doing what I'm doing.
And so you're on the press tour now?
Amazingly enough, yeah, I started in September, and I thought, you know.
I didn't realize they lasted this long.
Well, I mean, you can stop when you want, right? But I don't do so much press. I do a lot of events now.
Yeah. A lot of book signings?
A lot of book signings, and then a lot of lectures, and where people have read the book who come to it, or who will read the book. And, you know, I mean, you can't stop, but there's always a temptation to keep going because you want your work to be read. And the more you get out there, the more people will read your book.
Do you find that people who come to the book signings are generally knowledgeable in your work? Do you find that?
Yeah, it depends if they came with the intention of seeing me or hearing me or a particular author, anyone, or if they came because it was raining outside and Barnes and Noble has a nice, you know, area where you can sit down. And I actually had an experience in New York on this book tour where a gentleman was sitting in the audience the whole time I was talking, and when I finished, he came up and said, "Do you know when she's going to start?" I said, "Who?" And he pointed to the poster, you know, that has the book cover on it, and I said, "That author." I said, "I was that author." So, you know, you get all kinds.
Do you enjoy the television gigs? I would think it would be fun. You do a bunch of stuff. You do PBS. I know actually, not television, but you've hosted NPR. Do you enjoy the broadcasting aspect? Now, I know you don't like doing the interviews so much, except for with me, but I would think it would be a little bit of a thrill, even for a quiet writer like yourself.
Oh, no, it's always a thrill. I never watch myself after. I should, so I learned something, but I don't, because there's that moment of mortification. Where, oh God, why did I look like that? Why did I say that? You know, so I don't listen to myself or watch myself. But it's always a thrill, and a lot of times you get somebody like yourself, really intelligent and engaging, where you actually get a chance to really talk about stuff that interests you. And you know, how often does a person get that chance? So no, I enjoy that part. Everything about the book tour that has to do, you know, the moment when you're talking about the book or signing the book or reading from the book, those are great moments of the book tour. But what's before and after, which is 6 a.m. flights and into a new city, check into a hotel, you know, often they don't have windows. You're like choking all night on air-conditioned air.
Where are you staying? Where are they putting you up out there? We got to get you some windows.
No, they put me up in, listen, my publisher, this publisher has given me sort of the royal treatment, you know.
I think you've been good to your publisher as well.
I've tried, but you know, nowadays the nicer hotels even don't have windows that open, so you know, like the W's in New York. So you kind of get claustrophobic. So
and homesick.
And homesick, yeah, because it goes on, and after a while you don't even remember what city you're in. I don't want to sound like I'm a rock star, you know, Mick Jagger on tour.
But it's something that is really a necessary part of the business, which is why you're having the seminar on the 12th.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, as a professor of creative writing here at USC, it's in the Master's of...
Master of Professional Writing.
You see a lot of young writers. Do you encourage them, like yourself, to pursue things that they know a lot about? Start with something.
Write about what you know.
Yeah. Is that pretty much the rule of thumb?
Well, the rule of thumb is write about what you know emotionally, so that if you but then not the plot or the location of the story. That could be anywhere. I mean, my book Sunday Silence takes place in Appalachia.
Right.
Right. And it sounded as authentic, according to people from the area, as my other books, because you draw from your own emotional reserve. So let's say you're writing about, in this class I'm teaching, we read Lolita by Nabokov, and you know, it's the story of this older man who pursues this 12-year-old. Really, what are you writing? You're writing about a child molester, right? But the emotional content is desire, and so you draw from that. What do you know about desire and the limitations that you would put or not put on what you want? So that is what you know. That's the part that you have to have in order to tell a good story, but not the basic elements of plot and location and what the characters say, race or gender. All of that you can do anything.
How do you find what it is you know? I'm trying to put myself in that position as a young writer, and it seems to me it would take a lot of soul searching to figure out exactly the parts of yourself that you're in touch with enough to write about.
Yeah, it does, and I think people who want to write because there's something they're dying to tell the world. I mean, why else would you do this? You know, the much better jobs, much more lucrative jobs out there, easier things to do, right? They do that, or they don't want to wake up at a particular time in the morning. So
right.
But usually it's because they have something they're dying to tell the world, and you have to figure out what that thing is and start from there. But yeah, it's as much soul searching as actual, you know, inspiration as much as perspiration, somebody said.
I think we lucked out that you didn't become a lawyer.
Oh, God, no, I like that.
I think we really did. Gina Nahai.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for coming on the show. I really enjoyed having you.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
I learned a lot, and I hope that you'll come back.